Welcome to the Life Well Lived, Paving Your Own Way to Growth podcast. In this episode, we'll be talking about giving back with a special guest. We hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Life Well Lived, Paving Your Own Way to Growth podcast. I am your host, Justin Harris.
And I am your host, Gina Torres. And today we bring you a very special guest, someone very close to Justin and I. This is Vin Vin Hines of the Vibez with Vin Vin podcast.
Yo.
Vin.
Welcome.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
Before we get into our quote of the day, why don't you just explain a little bit about yourself and how you know us, and give us a little background on what you got going on.
So my name is Vin, Vin Hines, and I have my own podcast. I am an individual who loves to give back in the community. Very service oriented. My current position is a very service oriented position with AmeriCorps. So I'm really enjoying being able to get out there into the community and help out and give back. It's just part of who I am as a person. And I love that. You know what I mean? I have to just be thankful of that. And I know both of you guys, because we're basically family. Like Justin is a cousin of mine, and Justin and you are cousins. So therefore, air quote, we are all cousins. So
we are family.
Yes. Big old family.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that, Vin. That was my dog.
Speaking of dogs,
blame the dog.
Speaking of dogs, so you might hear I got a little different situation going on today. I am actually outside on the porch, so you might hear some birds chirping. That's not the bad thing. The bad thing is you might hear some dogs barking, which is not a bad thing, but if you hear it, I apologize. Can't do nothing about it at the moment.
And so now the quote of the day, Justin.
Quote of the day. Yeah, let's go right into the quote of the day, which I thought it talks really well about, or it states really well about what we want to talk about today. The quote of the day is actually by Denzel Washington. By the way, did you know his real name is Denzel? I'll talk about that at a different time. But anyway, the quote of the day is, at the end of the day, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about who you've lifted up, who you've made better. It's about what you've given back. Now, I chose that quote obviously because it's about us giving back. The episode's about us giving back today, and I think that just hits the nail right in the coffin right there about what we encompass when we talk about, when we, us three anyway, talk about giving back.
Yeah, for sure.
So Vin, if you don't mind, can you just kind of interpret that quote for us, and how that quote speaks to you?
Oh damn.
Welcome.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I just believe that you just have to be selfless in the way that you give back. I think that it's important to not, what's the word I'm looking for? Not to really go into it with an expectation that you're going to get something out of it. It's kind of like when they say, if you have a thankless job type of a deal, you know what I'm saying? And they say, well, don't expect thanks. And I've been in a lot, servant jobs are like that.
Yeah.
But it's not, if you are a true servant of the community, a true servant of somebody, a true servant of life, then you're not looking for a reward.
Right.
You're looking for the feeling that you get. For me, it's all about the feeling. Like when I started doing community service work myself on my own, that shit felt good.
Yeah,
it felt good. I felt my soul, I filled something in me. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for anything else. So I think it's just, you got to be selfless and mindful of why you're doing what you're doing when you're giving stuff back.
So when you were doing that, you called that feed the streets with Vin Vin, right?
Yeah.
So I specifically remember that because I was like, man, he's out there. He's doing what,
coming back too.
Yeah.
Coming back.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. We're coming back.
So coming back, talk about that a little bit. If you can, if you
no, absolutely. Yeah. It's not an exclusive thing. I can definitely talk about it. No, but I was doing it for about 2 years. So all in all, if we take out the pandemic piece of it, it's 3 years of me doing this. And really what happened, I'll get into a little bit of a small story before I give you the update. Is I basically went with, I think I had $22 in my pocket. Say again?
No, you're good.
Oh,
Sorry.
I had about like $22 in my pocket, and I went to Walmart the night before. I got stuff to make breakfast sandwiches. I made the breakfast sandwiches the next morning, wrapped them up, and drove around. For about a month, I drove around the city of Albany handing out food. And really what I was doing was establishing relationships with people in the community, because
Yeah.
they all know each other, regardless if they like each other. They all speak to one another.
Mhm.
And when you got a random ass dude driving around trying to give you food, that could be a problem for them. So they were like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I think out of the 20 sandwiches that I had that day, I think I gave away 4 my first weekend.
Mm.
So I had to go back and give out more to those people that actually trusted me. Within 2 weeks, it was out there. I was out on they knew that either me or my uncle or both of us, they described us. They knew if we pulled up, we're not trying to give you no drugs. We're not trying to, none of that. We're just trying to feed you. Apparently, and I don't know, G, if you've ever heard this, but I offered somebody food one day and I said it just like that. I have food for you. Apparently, in the community of people who do heroin and stuff, and I'm asking you because I know you're law enforcement and stuff, they use food as a term for heroin, which I didn't know that. So he was reluctant to take it from me because he thought I was trying to dose him off. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, absolutely not. I'm trying to feed you, bro. Like, I don't care what you do, but you need to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to eat. You ever hear that real quick before I?
I actually have heard that before. So when you said it, it was kind of like it did trigger something for me. And if you say like, oh, here, I got food for you, or I got that food that you wanted kind of
Yeah.
thing. I've heard that before. I
Yeah,
don't know specifically if it was for heroin or
Ju-
you know, what
just
kind
in
of
general.
I have heard that before.
Yeah, like I had never heard that. So like I was like taken aback because I'm like, no, I'm trying to feed you. You know what I'm saying? So fast forward to now, because of the pandemic, because of everything, we kind of took a little bit of hiatus. Certain weekends we would go out there in the beginning, and then as things kind of started unrolling, rolling back out, you can take your mask off and stuff like that, or you have it on, but you're, social distancing. We would start putting things in to go containers and then handing them out like that.
Yeah.
And then it just got a little bit difficult. People weren't vaccinated. There was that whole situation, and we didn't want to judge anybody for not being vaccinated, and we just didn't want to put anybody in harm's way either. So we kind of took a break, but we're coming back in late May, early June. We're going to be coming back. Weather's going to be nice. We're going to be doing a lot of different things every Saturday or Sunday. Usually I'm going to try to shoot for Saturdays, but Saturday or Sunday mornings, we're going to be out there definitely. And then hopefully throughout the summer, I'll be able to do a couple of like pepper events.
Nice.
And then just as a side note, you know that you can always use me for help. And
I appreciate that, Jay, for real.
too. I don't know if we could set up some sort of pop-up, like, pop-up
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Sunday or something over in that driveway at Peels. We can do that though.
Even if
that'd be dope.
even if you like, I'm just thinking as far as like business mind, even if you set up a pop-up that day, not necessarily to like start feeding people, but at least to give information out to people. Like, listen, this is what we're doing. This is what we plan on doing. Even if it's before you want to start going out and start actually doing it, set up, do a pop-up real quick. Let them know what you plan, what you want to do. So people are like, oh, I'm gonna look out for this.
Yeah, or if we do like some sort of a buy a breakfast sandwich, that means that you give one away or something like that.
Well, I like that. That's a good. Yeah, look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My business minded, comes in, but we definitely got to talk about that for sure.
Yeah, I enjoy that, and I'm just really trying to get back to giving back in that capacity because I miss it. It's time consuming, but it's a good time. So I'm just I'm ready to give back, and I can't wait to be able to do it again for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to go on what that feeling that you described earlier was like kind of that fulfillment feeling.
Yeah.
I can definitely agree with you because there's nothing like it. I I can't tell you the amount of times where I've had, a higher paying job, but then you want to do like that little stuff around the community that just like fulfills your heart.
Mhm.
So, besides feed the streets with Vin Vin, do you do anything else outside of that for the community or like in the community that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, like there's just random things that we do. Me and my uncle will do like he'll go out and get ice cream and stuff like that, and we'll go out, we'll just kind of hand it out to, to the kids in the community. We like to do like park cleanups. We like to do, anybody who's having an event, or anybody who is trying to do an event, we try to do a lot of the background stuff with them and help them out. A lot of what we do is not broadcasted or televised. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not for me. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of that. So like a lot of what I do is kind of, I don't want to say in silence, but it's just what I do. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it's just second nature to me. And now I'm starting to branch out because my new job is in Schenectady. So now I'm starting to branch out into a whole different community that I know a little bit, but I don't know it. So they're going to know me because of my position and stuff like that. And just because of who I am. And I'm going to try to start doing some feed the street events out in Schenectady as well, so that they know who I am. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a bad person, or I'm not trying to hurt you. Rather, like, I just want to give back to the community. And if my students are coming from that community, and my staff or the people that are on staff come from that community, then I want to give back to that community because they're giving something back to me without them even knowing it.
Right.
And that's important to me.
Absolutely. I think respect in the community is way more powerful than getting the recognition.
Yep.
You also deserve recognition too, because you are doing a lot of good things. And I know you're just like us. Well, we don't like to broadcast the good things that we do, but it also deserves to be out there, because people have to know that there are others in the community who are doing this type of work. And so I just want to give you a shout out for that, because that's really awesome. So
we appreciate everything you do. We appreciate you putting the time in. Let me tell you something about my cousin Vinny.
There it is.
He puts the time in. He does, and like he says, like, everything doesn't need to be broadcasted. It's about what you're doing. It's about the things that you're doing behind the scenes. Sometimes is the most important thing. Yeah, you can be showy and not you. I'm just saying in general.
No,
people,
I get what you're saying.
People are like, oh, look at what I'm doing, and then they're out here recording things, and it's like, well, are you doing it only for that moment? Like, what are you doing to continue that on while nobody's watching you? That's a big thing. And I think a big part of giving back, what it does is it also strengthens bonds. So like, now that you're going out on the streets, like you mentioned before, you're talking with people and you're seeing certain people consistently. So now you're strengthening this bond. You don't know where that can take you. That can take you somewhere else that you didn't even think possible, in a sense of, you meet this one person and now they're like, hey, come help me do this. And next thing you know, you're in a different adventure, and it brings you to these different avenues that can really, you just never know. You just
never know who you're going to meet anywhere. And a lot of times these business-minded people forget about the little people. Well, there are a lot more little people than there are big people. And if I'm always a quantity over quality over quantity kind of thing. And like, I don't care, you can have the big CEOs, big names, whatever. Like, I want all my little people, like, because that's quality to me. That's like, this is, I want to grow them while I'm growing myself.
Exactly.
I don't want to get the people who already already up there doing well for themselves. I want the people who are, who need me. And I have a strong belief that, like, I went through everything I went through in life so that I could give back by teaching, this is what I went through. This is how I got through it. Like, let me take you with me, kind of thing. And let's grow together. I love doing that. I love seeing that in the community. So
yeah, that's valid.
I commend you on that for sure.
Definitely. That's valid. I like that. You know what I mean? Like, I really just believe that there's been times, don't get me wrong, where like we might go live. And that's maybe to spread or to promote in the moment. Like, if I need donations, or like the last time I can remember we went live was when my uncle had his tournament down at Sunshine Park. So we're talking about maybe 2 years ago, because it was before the pandemic and stuff like that. And I remember we had food, we had things or whatever. We were starting to run out. So I went live, was like, I need burgers or I need whatever, like, you can send me cash up. So I wound up getting donations, and we went right to the store, sent somebody off to the store and got more food. So it's like, in situations like that, I will utilize the platform because it's important. It gets out so quick. But I also know that there's people out there who feel like it's malintent, like that there's something behind it, or that I want a clout or something like that. But that's not why I do it. I mean, if that was the case, then I'd be all over everywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? I promote myself. I'd put out ads for it, you know, all over the country, and you'd be seeing me out here like, well, hello. And maybe I should, you know what I mean? Because it's not like, who knows, you know,
Yeah.
maybe I should so that I can help more people. But at the end of the day, that's not why I want to do it. I want to do it just to give back, you know?
Mhm. You're not one of those people that are trying to do it for, like you said, for the clout. And even if it's probably not a bad idea to promote on a, not on a large scale, but like a lot more, only for the simple fact, like you said, just to get the word out. So you're like, listen, people, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Let's get together as a community. Albany's big, and not to mention, to go outside of Albany, like you mentioned, Schenectady. By the way, we're talking a lot of New York stuff right now.
Yeah,
right.
not
Those
Florida
are-
stuff, Justin.
Yeah. So in case you're like, what does he talk about? All these Schenectady. But anyway, but yeah, I wanted to kind of go back because I had a thought about a job that I used to work at. I'm not going to mention what name of the job or anything like that, but at one point, I was talking with one of the coworkers, the staff there, and the owner walked in. Now, the owner of that specific place, and he walked up to her. Mind you, she was with the company for like over close to a year. And he walked in, he was like, "Oh, are you the new girl?" And it's like, she just looked at him. She was like, "I've been here almost a year." He was like, "Oh," and then just kept walking, So it's like, once you get to that point where, one, you're no longer, which I personally don't even think he was in it to help people to begin with. And that's probably where that stemmed from to begin with. So like, it brought me back to that thought only because, like, yeah, you can get big in what you're doing. You can grow. You can be the head of something that has grown exponentially. But just like you mentioned, don't forget about the people underneath. Don't forget about the people that helped you get to where you are, because without them, you wouldn't get to where you are. And a lot of people don't realize that.
Nope.
Yeah, they forget a lot of the times about the boots on the ground people. You have the people who are making the big decisions up top, but you actually, that all trickles down to, the lower boots on the ground people.
Mhm.
They're carrying out what you're deciding. So whether that's, even on presidential level, like say go to war,
Yep.
you can't forget that that's actual people down there that are fighting for, their lives, our lives, everything like that. And just to go back on your little broadcast too thing, Vin, I am a firm believer if you do everything out of love, then you don't have to explain it to anybody. At the end of the day, that's gonna be the last question. Hey, listen, did you do it out of love? Yes. All right then.
Okay.
If your answer is no, then you know within yourself that wasn't what you're supposed to do.
Mhm.
But
Agreed.
I think you got to always ask yourself, there's always the why in anything, in any business, anything that I've ever done or like talked with people about. It's like, okay, you want to do this, why?
Yeah.
People, and what people don't it's deeper than what they think. So it's like, you want to do this, why? Oh, I want to help people, but why? To make the world a better place, but why? Because I saw how my family was affected growing up, and I don't want the people
there
to
you go.
struggle like other people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your why.
There you go.
So now that you've established your true why, let's get this thing rolling. And there's definitely steps. Don't just you got to have a deeper meaning. There's always a deeper meaning than people truly realize.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of it is too, like, you got to build yourself up. I've been doing community stuff with my uncle since I was a kid. Like one of the first memories that I have of my uncle Brian is, and doing a service event, was going to, and I'm trying to think, it's on Elizabeth Street. I want to say there's a park on Elizabeth Street. This is, again, we're talking about New York.
Yeah.
In Albany. There's a park, and we went and we cleaned the park up. Well, there was several people there. I was young, man. I was probably like 8, 9, like I was younger,
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the hypodermic needles and this and that, and like glass everywhere. And it's like, this is a park, and these kids can't play on this park. So as a child, I'm thinking to myself, how do you live somewhere where you can't play at the park that's right across the street from your house?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yeah, I want to help do this. And they picked they cleaned up the park, and it was a decent park. The community kept it together. And then obviously the area where I'm talking about, for everybody who's not familiar, it's not a very well-to-do area. It is in the south end of Albany, and it is a poverty-stricken area. So there's really not much. Now they have updated the park since then, and they've been doing that with the idea that there are children here that need to play.
Mhm.
And no matter where you are in the community, a child deserves to see bright colors and nice things, and not holes in their roof or windows that don't open or close or doors that don't lock or shit, because this is just all we can afford here.
Right.
They don't need to see that. A child did not ask to come into this world. So therefore, if we can do something to make the community a better place, look better, feel better, then we owe it. You know, I'm not a well-to-do person. I'm trying to get there, but I owe it to the community to make it as best as I possibly can, because they've done a lot for me.
Right. And you think about when, you look good, you feel good, right? And when, you're like, no, I don't want to get out of bed, I'm tired, I'm this and that, like you don't kind of put yourself together. Not saying that you have to, like, for women, like we have to put all this makeup on, or like for guys, you have to like have, clean everything. Like I'm talking about just like, putting yourself together and like it just your overall mood, right? So think about how that perception is like on these kids, right? If they're seeing, all these needles and it's all dirty and it's, this and that, but then on the other end, they see bright colors and they have, these things that aren't broken, like even just stuff like that. Like we got merry-go-rounds that are broken, they don't even spin. It's like, come on, what do you want me to do? Stand on it? Just, like what? So totally agree with you in that aspect. I want to go back to a little bit about your why. You said, especially for cleaning the playgrounds, you saw that as a kid. And you've been doing a lot of things with your uncle for the community and stuff like that. But what is your real why, like for starting a podcast, for doing, all this stuff that you're doing right now?
I'm gonna say it comes down and boils down to, if there's one particular person who is no longer here with me, it's my nana. A lot of another aspect of my life, like I can say both sides of my family have given back. My grandmother was very much, I'll give you the shirt off my back type of a person. And that was important to me. She showed me what it was to be selfless. She showed me what it was to give back when you don't have much, and that your abilities to do it. My why is to continue her legacy, to continue her line of thinking, but it's my line of thinking now. It's not, it was her belief, and it is now my mission. So I think that it is important for me to just continue. And I just feel good about doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I want her to be proud of me, but I know she is. So I want to just continue what she started and just make it my life's goal to continue that process and show people that, yes, you can do it. And so I think that at the end of the day, first of all, I already knew I've been put on this earth to do something special. And I know people say that all the time, like, oh, that's, you're confident or whatever. And people say that. I believe it in my bones. I don't know what it is, but my whole life, what I've been going through, where I'm at right now, what I'm doing with the podcast, what I'm doing with the two of you right now, everything has brought me to this point. And I can't be more than humble about the situation, because like I said, I wish she was here to see this, but I know she's looking down. So my why is just to continue to drive what she believed deep down in her heart, were her morals and values. And I just want to continue that as my mission, because those are my morals and values. I don't care who you are. If I can help you, I'm going to try to help you.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, that encompasses it right there.
100%.
That's a true why. Like you mentioned, they were her values and beliefs, and you've adopted those. And a lot of people think that they need their own, but that's perfect. That's perfect, because you saw, we talked about before, having like role models and icons that a lot of people think that you need to have a superstar as a role model or something, but that's not the case. And it doesn't even have to be somebody in your specific, like if I'm a baseball player, Derek Jeter doesn't have to be my role model. It could be, like I mentioned before, it could be Muhammad Ali. It could be, I'm not going to say Mike Tyson. It could be Mike Tyson. I don't know. but but it could be somebody different, and you develop and you get those and their beliefs and their work ethic and
Yeah.
all that things, and you make them your own with
Yeah.
little twists, with little things like it maybe you do this a little differently, but that's okay because now you've made it your own coming from somewhere else. And I personally believe I was kind of looking into some things like not only giving is so good for anybody because it actually does help like to reduce stress if you think about it, like when you're giving back you start to feel good. It does release some certain chemicals in the brain that helps you to feel good, because you're like, oh man, I'm doing this, I'm feeling good. But then giving is also contagious if you really think about it. Like you're going out there, you're helping people. Next thing you know, you mentioned kids. If they see something, kids are sponges when they're young, so they
Yeah.
absorb things. If they see somebody that's going out into the community daily, or not daily, weekly, or just if they constantly see you going back, they're like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And then now that they're talking with you, and then they see you giving food, and now when they grow up, they're gonna be like, I remember feeding the streets with it was always around. I want to do something like that. And you might not even know it.
I, I
They,
mean,
they could move
you're right.
away and,
Yeah.
and somebody can start this somewhere else. But you're affecting people's lives. And that's the biggest thing. And it's not about being a show off. It's about affecting people's lives
Yeah.
as we go, simply by giving and doing something that it could cost some money, but it costs no, how do I want to explain this? It's just a good feeling. It's just a good
Yeah.
feeling. It's just being a good person. Just wanting to help people, wanting to see the world be better,
Yeah, I mean, I can also say too, like it's not just her. Like, I mean, on my father's side, like I didn't grow up with my father, but my Uncle Brian, again, like I said, you'll hear me anytime I have a conversation about my family. If it wasn't for him,
Mhm.
I wouldn't know my other side of my family. You know what I'm saying? So my great grandfather and my great grandmother were very much giving people, and they grew up again south. They didn't grow up, but they lived for almost 40 years in the south end of Albany in a high rise,
Yeah.
Green Street high rise. The high rise that are down there, one of the buildings is named after my great grandfather, George Marbley Towers. The street, Green Street, is named after my great grandfather, George Marbley Way.
Yeah.
He also did things. I don't know if you remember Brother Yusuf at all, but like he did a lot of stuff in the community too. But my great grandfather was very, very similar to him in that he would take kids from the hood and he would go and bring them out into nature, teach them how to fish, teach them how to do all these different things, get them away, maybe take them swimming, just do things together, but get them away from here. And so I have so much on both sides that it's like it's just ingrained in me.
Mhm.
And so like I feel like when people talk about what's your passion, this is my passion. Like if I could get anybody who's rich that's listening right now, if I could get a little bit of your money, I will show you how much good I can do with it.
Yeah.
That is a promise. If I could literally wake up every single day as a full-time job, so to speak, and spend money on people who do not have money, or make things better, make communities better, go clean parks, go clean grass, I don't care, get out there and motivate people. If I could do that, that is the job that I want. So if anybody's listening and has an extra money and you're bored, instead of buying an NFT, okay, invest in your boy Vin Vin,
Yeah.
and let me show you what I can do with your money, and let me show you how you will feel. And you won't even have to lift a finger. Just write a check.
Yep.
Like for real. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of where I'm at. My passion is not just students, because I've taught and stuff like that too. It's not just students, it's people. It's how can I leave a mark on anybody that I come across in a positive way. And that's all I really want to do. That's why I feel like I can give you an honest answer. And when you ask me a why, it's a deep answer, because it really truly is what I feel and believe inside. It's not fictitious. It's not, there's nothing made up about it. Like it's me. It's just me.
And what I love about your answer is that it's not like a generic, I want to help people,
Yeah.
That's why you hear all the time. And it's like, again, like Justin said, but why? And then you keep on getting deeper, and then you find, when people stop and like, because I want to help people, okay, that's a good answer. Like, we get that, but a lot of people want to do that. But it's like, why do you want to help people? Is it because you want to, show your face in the community? Is it because it fulfills you? Is it because of this, that? So,
Yeah.
And we impact, and I think the beautiful thing about what you're doing and kind of a little bit about what we all do in the community aspect is we never know who we're going to impact or who's watching us either. We could be the difference in someone's life and be like, oh man, I just saw, Gina, or I had a conversation with Gina, and like, maybe I'm going down the wrong path, or she went down this path, or Vin went down this path and could have went here, but like he's here. So there is hope for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you just never know. And I think that's like the beauty of it. Like, you may think that you've talked to one person today, but you don't know if someone else is watching that conversation. And then they say, oh, they hear you say a compliment to this person. You're like, you know what, I'm going to compliment somebody just because it just, gave them a different thought process. I feel like sometimes we get so, incorporated in our just like day-to-day life that we don't take the time to, do those little things. I mean, have you ever complimented someone just like randomly and just been like, hey, I love, or, you look beautiful, or not for the guys maybe, but
listen, I do. I'm like a weirdo sometimes.
Complimented somebody and they were like, oh, well, like, thank you, and it like took them back for a second. They were like, oh, like, thank you. It was kind of like a, what do you want? But like,
exactly.
Also, and I think that's something that we have to do a good job of doing better of, because like it costs nothing to give a compliment, right?
And some people need, you don't like, you can say that to some random person. They might break down because like, you don't know how much I needed to hear that. You don't know how much I needed somebody. And I'll keep saying this every podcast we do. If you need somebody, reach out. Reach out to us. We are here for you. That's why I'm doing this. I personally, I would love for this to reach thousands and thousands of people. But if one person, I'm doing this to affect, if I affect one person's life by the things that I'm saying, I'm loving it. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm okay with that because I'm still helping somebody, whether that's helping myself because it's a mental thing for me to help talk about this stuff to get me on track, or if it's helping that next person that's out in Wisconsin listening in because they're like, I needed to hear these words. So
all my cheese heads out there, send me some cheese.
For real.
Want some curds.
So
I got a quick challenge for everybody listening, and then for all three of us. So what I just said about the whole compliment thing, I'm going to challenge you for the next 30 days.
Okay.
To wake up in the morning and give yourself a compliment.
That's gonna be hard. I always wake up and I say, you're sexy and you're this, No, I'm kidding. I don't.
But for a lot of us, what we see are our flaws, right? And then we're going through all of this stuff in life. And then when we come back and we look in the mirror, we say, oh my God, you look disgusting. Oh my gosh, you gotta, my eyebrows aren't done. Or, oh my gosh, you need to be easier on yourself, because I know we all do it. I personally have been trying to really give myself grace in these last couple months because I know I'm going through a lot, and it's so easy to just be like, oh my God, this is happening again. Appreciate you, Vin. I want to challenge each of us to do so though, like everybody listening, each of us, and just kind of see how it switches your mindset.
Yeah, I think I actually did an experiment on Facebook one time. I went I should say it was probably about 2 weeks. I consistently posted negative thoughts. Okay, hear me out first. I posted a couple, maybe 2 to 3 times a week, some negative things. Got a lot of likes on them. But then I posted something positive. Great day today. Just walked 3 miles. Just something positive, and the amount of like the like ratio from the positive to the negative, super low. And then I even posted, I was like, I can't believe the positivity that I put out. Nobody cares about that. Everybody just wants this chaos. Why is that? We need to change our mindset. We need to look back. And the thing is, it's like negativity is also it's more contagious than positivity,
Oh yeah.
because as I'm doing these posts, it took me a good little bit, even just weeks after that. I had these negative thoughts. I'm like, what is going on? But it's once you change that mindset. So if you start with this 30 days, it's great. 30 days is going to turn into 60 days, is going to turn
Yep.
into forever,
Yep.
so just keep it up.
Yeah, I was gonna. Oh no, go ahead. My bad.
No, you're good. Go for it.
No, I was gonna say like a compliments. Getting back to the compliments thing real quick is like when I was younger, like I said, I was like one of them little weirdos and stuff like that. Like me and my mother would take the bus, and like any woman who was pregnant, forget it. I was like going up to you and like saying you look so beautiful, and can I rub your stomach? My mother'd be like so embarrassed. She'd be like, "Are you serious? You're really asking?" And they'd be like, "No, it's okay. Like
Yeah.
whatever." But I also it brought me to think about when I say good morning to somebody, like as a former, well, I'm still a current, I can't say former educator, as an educator, as somebody who's worked as a dean of students and or in administration in school, good morning from staff and students is very important to me, and from anybody. And I used to say, the reason why I'm asking you to say good morning to me, and I'm not forcing you, but I'm thinking about it, is because this might be the only good morning that you get.
Yeah.
This might be the only time that somebody wants to take some time out of their day to even say anything to you. And so for you not to say it back, well, guess what? I'm going to let you rock for a couple minutes, and I'm going to say it even louder and prouder in your face until you say it back to me. Because even though you might not mean it, that exchange that we have might be the only exchange that you have that day with somebody who truly cares about whether or not you have a good morning.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not trying to force anybody to say good morning to me, but I randomly will say good morning to anybody. I don't care who you are. You're looking at me. It's a New York thing too.
Yeah.
You're staring at me. So either you're going to I'm either going to say to you, what?
Yeah.
Or I'm going to say, I usually now say I've shifted, to saying good morning. And if in that way, like you can't say nothing to me, like I'm being nice. It's not like you can sit here and say, oh, he's an asshole. It's like, no, I'm being nice to you because you're staring over here like I'm a steak. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? At least like, you know what I'm saying? Like at least I'm being nice to you. And I feel like that's important too. Like just say good morning. It's a simple thing, but that's why I've always thought about that. Like it's too important for me not to hear it back. And it's not even for me. It's just like, what if this is the only time? What if you go home and you have no support? You have nobody that wants to talk to you or anything. And because you're used to that, you shot down the only interaction that you could have with somebody who really wanted to have a conversation with you just by saying good morning.
Absolutely.
People.
Go ahead, Justin.
Oh, so people. Have you ever heard the term "kill them with kindness"? Like that's the thing. If somebody my mom's she's always saying, like, if somebody's being rude to you, just kill them with kindness, because one, not only do they get more aggravated, but but they will reflect on it later on, whether you know it or not. They're going to be like, why he just kept being so nice to me and I was super mad at him, but why? And then they're going to think about that. You know what? I probably was being an asshole. I probably shouldn't have said this. And next thing you know, the next day or the next time, if they're in this type of situation, they might be rude at first, but then they're like, you know what? Hold on. Let me calm down. Let me think about this logically. That's hopefully that's what they're doing, because that's what they should be doing. So kill them with kindness.
But that's like somebody told me, I'm sorry, G, but real quick, somebody told me, like, if you're arguing with somebody too, like if somebody's all the way up here and you come down here, you have somewhere to go. If you guys are both at this point, there's nowhere for anybody to go. So eventually, like when this person's all the way up here and you're like, oh, okay, this is how you feel, like, and you're trying to, like, because to be honest with you, that might be hard in the moment, but it's so much more satisfying.
Yeah.
Like it's almost comical when somebody's screaming in your face and you're looking at him and you'd be like, yeah, okay, well, let's just have a conversation. Like people didn't like that because they wanted me to be bugging out, and I'm looking at you and I'm being sarcastic as hell with you. And I'm making you see yourself for the craziness that this is right now. Like it's crazy.
I don't know if you have, either of you have had somebody staring at you, because again, like you said, Vin, it's a New York thing. And they've been looking for you, looking at you for a long time. And all of a sudden you go like, what are you looking at? They're like, oh my God, you're just so beautiful, or something like that. And you're like, oh,
well, sorry.
Like, oh, you had something on you, on your face or whatever I was going to tell you. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like an asshole now.
Yeah. And sometimes another thing people will say is, 1 second, that dog cut me off. But anyway, they'll just be like, you just looked so much like my brother, or so much like this person, and you just
Yes.
never know. And that's why it's always a better thing to just be positive. And like you said, I actually never I never just straight up say good morning, but I will say something just like, hey, what's up? And just
Yeah,
kind of look
something.
at, like, hey, what's up? What's up?
Yeah.
But to just say good morning.
You want to shoot the bear?
Yeah, like exactly. You want to take this outside or what? Shit.
You
Want
remember when
bacon,
they
egg,
said
and
that in like
cheese with
high school, Justin?
What was
You want to
that?
shoot the bear?
Oh yeah. Albany High was good.
Shit. It
But
looks real nice now.
yeah, but
Jesus.
it's
Yeah.
because people, that's happened many times. I wouldn't be rude about it, just be like, hey, you good? And then they're like, yeah, you look like my brother. I haven't seen him in a while. And it's just like, oh man. Oh
Okay.
man. And
Well,
then
then
you
take me
feel
to
terrible.
lunch.
Yeah, right.
Again, it's that same concept. Like, you never know who's watching, who's looking, and you just never know what anybody's going through. So just, if you're not doing it out of love, don't do it at all.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Agreed.
Mhm. And this is, as you hear us talking about the New York in us, like, this is all stuff that I know personally I'm still working on. Whenever we talk about anything on this podcast, it's not that we're 100% this is what we're doing. It's stuff that we know we should be doing, and we're actively
Exactly.
working on.
It sounds good.
Yeah,
But it doesn't
yeah.
always, it sounds real nice. You write it down on paper. It looks good on paper, but sometimes
Exactly.
it's a little difficult.
Exactly. We're human. We're working on it, but that's why we're talking about it, because we know we have to work on it.
Yes. So Vin,
Yes.
we talked about your past. We've talked about the present. What does the future look like for Vin and Vibes with Vin, and Feed the Streets with Vin? Everything. What's the future? What's like the goal here?
Prosperous. No, I'm getting a plan together in 2 years. My goal is in 2 years to be able to do monetize the podcast some way enough, or maybe look for a grant or something, again, to do what I just said before, which was to kind of travel. I want to be able to travel around the United States, do the podcast, and help people all in one foul swoop. I'm actually a good friend of mine, James Thomas Jr., so I'll shout him out. Big bro, too tall. Me and him are writing a book this summer about leadership, essential like requirements for leadership and stuff like that. And so we're going to be busy doing that. So that's definitely going to be in the future as well. And it's going to come from a real standpoint. I had somebody tell me before, like, oh, well, you should be professional and proper and this and a third. It's like, no, I'm finishing my master's degree in it'll be October. And I'm getting that piece of paper so that if somebody says to me, oh, well, you shouldn't say it like that, I'm going to say, fuck you. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know what I'm talking about. For me, I feel like there's so much, like, I'm a real person. I want it to be real. So I'm writing it in a real sense. Both of us are on the same level, same vibe. He wants it to be real as well. So the book is going to be coming. I just want to be able to do the things that make me feel good all the time, full time. So my goal is really going to be get debts under control. That's what I'm saying. We'll be talking, G, like, just get things under control, form a plan financially to get me to a point where I can maybe take a little time off. My job where I'm at would potentially allow me not to take time off, but would allow me to travel a little bit potentially and still do some work from home things. And so I have a little bit of flexibility, I'm hoping. But yeah, in 2 years, that's my goal, is to be able to do this full time and travel and, have a business, but mostly like a nonprofit, making sure that we kind of just get out there and just do things. I just want to be able to help as many people as I can help.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We love that. And we're here for you in any way, shape, or form.
Thank you.
Which also leads us to our next point. We will be starting a game show. So be on the lookout for that.
You've been bamboozled.
In case you don't get enough of Just and I on our podcast, we're going to be collaborating with Vibes with Vin Vin.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So a little bit about that is we don't know exactly what we're doing yet, but we're going to do a women and a guy's perspective on, certain controversial topics. And we're going to make it really fun, though. So be on the lookout for that.
I'm gonna make a character.
What?
I'm gonna try to make a character for as the host.
Oh my God. Yeah. No,
Chuck Rivers, welcome.
definitely all gonna have to character up, but oh my God, can you hear my dog crunching on this damn ice over here?
No, but my dog loves ice too.
Oh,
I swear, like he'll hear it, he'll like, come
Yeah.
on out and just like grab a whole thing of it. He doesn't care how cold it is.
Yeah, they just run over. You drop it, you don't see them. They're just there. You're like, oh,
Yeah, right.
you got it.
Vin, so plug yourself in right now. Where can everybody find you on social media? Because I know you are very popping on social media.
Yeah, I'm trying to get as best as I can. I'm trying to grow. So make sure that you hit me up on IG or on TikTok at Vibes with Vin Vin. That's VIBEZWVIN, or you can also hit me up on the website, vinvinhines.com. And that's everything is right there. As well on my IG, if you click in my bio, you click the dot profile, all my links are there. Right down from to my number and my email. Please email me any feedback, any questions, comments, ideas. You want to be on the Vibes, I have links to everything. Please just hit me up if you want, and we're gonna get going. Like, make 51851 great is what I used to say with Vin Vin Fees the Streets. And we're all trying to make everybody as best as we can, make everybody great. So reach out, let's collaborate, let's think of some stuff to progress yourself and to progress all of us. So definitely.
Absolutely.
So I definitely would like to do this again. This is great. Not only to get the chance to talk with you again, but just talk more about certain perspectives that you may have on certain other ideas. So you can also thank you again for all the great information. Everybody be on the lookout. Go to the links, go to the pages. I'm definitely going to I got all your information to, just in case anybody missed it, if they don't want to rewind, I'll put it in the information. Yeah. You can also reach us if you have any questions about us or about topics or about anything else in general. If you want to talk with us about mental health, about anything, please reach out to us at the Life Well Lived podcast, Paving Your Own Way to Growth. You can reach us on Instagram. You can email us. You can reach us on Facebook at the Life Well Lived podcast. We appreciate you, and we will see you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Deuces.